It was ugly. I don't know if this is one of the classics you're going to tell your grandkids about, but it was necessary, and the Miami Dolphins get themselves a 15-10 victory over the New England Patriots, bumping their record to 2-3 and back into second place in the AFC East. Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. That is your final score today from Foxborough. You get a game-winning touchdown run from Alec Ingold. The Miami Dolphins absolutely find their run game today with the New England Patriots on a day where you could have been a little bit worried because you lose Devon Achane immediately to a brutal concussion. You know, he was knocked out from the hit helmet to helmet, and then he was knocked out again, it seemed like, when he hit the turf. So best recoveries to Devon Achane. That was a really, really ugly hit that he took. But you did get the return of Raheem Mostert today, and you had the breakout party for Jaylen Wright, who gave you 6.6 yards per carry today, 13 carries, 86 yards. Probably could have had a lot more called back on holding penalties. That seems to be a weird thing with him where guys are holding all the time. And that was the bread and butter the Miami Dolphins had to lean on in that final drive. You know, there were a couple nice plays. Tyler Huntley, he was able to find Jonnu Smith, who was certainly more involved today. Tyreek Hill, I thought, played a really, really good game. You know, not the flashy game, but you talk about what they needed from him from a leadership standpoint. You know, the guy honestly has had to play defensive back in the end zone more than he has receiver in these games. He's broken up now 2 touchdowns, but I really thought that he came up with some clutch stuff for Miami in this game today. You know, it's not the flashiest 6 catches, 69 yards for sure, but it was effective, and everybody had their part in what was a very, very necessary win. Let's just start there, okay? You don't have to be happy with stuff, and you don't have to be pleased with the standard of where this team is at. I understand that. I know that everybody comes into this wanting the Miami Dolphins to contend and take over the AFC, and I understand what everything was. Let's be at where we're at right now. Task at hand. Task at hand was you had to go into New England today, and you could not lose this football game. You lose this football game, you might as well pack up shop. And I got to be honest with you, there were times in this game I wanted everybody fired. Everybody fired. The special teams were so atrocious between blocked punt, muffed field goal snap, doink off the upright, and you're just thinking to yourself, how in God's name does Danny Crossman or anybody in these meetings still have a job after the bye week? That's what you're thinking to yourself. But thankfully, the Miami Dolphins were able to whittle it away. They were able to snuff out whatever was a figure of the New England Patriots offense today. Big stop after big stop. The only touchdown they got today was early on in the game after an interception by Tyler Huntley. They got on the board immediately. They go up 7-3. The Dolphins got their first lead of the year. Opening the drive, getting a 54-yard field goal from Jason Sanders. Then you get momentum right back your way. Sealer it on up. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, baby. It's riding high once again. So you go out there. Miami Dolphins are about to punt. It's 4th and 1. New England makes one of many critical errors that they did today as well. They were a team that came in much more disciplined on the penalty area than Miami did, but they had an awful one today. I mean, it was a stinker of a disciplined game for both sides, but especially New England had some real ugly ones. And they had a too many men on the field, which gave the Miami Dolphins a fresh set of downs, but it ends up in disaster because Tyler Huntley was looking for Tyreek Hill. He ends up getting picked off by Christian Gonzalez, and they would respond by getting into the end zone. And, you know, it was one of those things where you're just like, oh, of course. You know, you take something seems like it's going to go your way, and it ends up being worse for you. That's the kind of year that it's been for the Miami Dolphins. So it was the Dolphins' chance to respond, and this was when you got the Devon Achane. The next drive, Devon Achane gets a reverse. Really great play drawn up by Mike McDaniel. It was a really rough hit. I mean, we talk about Tua's hit, and that was certainly scary with seeing the fencing hands and whatnot. This was a brutal one, man. You could see the way that he went down in a heap. You're like, what happened? And it was helmet to helmet. Boom, hits the back of the canvas, and he was wobbling to the 10th. They ruled him out pretty quickly then thereafter. So he goes down. Mostert really starts getting the bulk of the carries for Miami. And, you know, they march it downfield pretty good. Tyler Huntley ends up getting sacked. He gets caught from behind. And this is where Jason Sanders doinks it off the upright. And you're just like, are you kidding me, dude? That's what we got going on right here. It was rough. Comedy of errors. The next time the Dolphins get the football, you had a blindside block penalty from Malik Washington, so the Dolphins have to punt. It gets blocked, and thankfully, New England had their own kicking issues. I don't know if it was like windy on that side of the field or whatever, but they go out there. Good tackle by Javon Holland on this play. They get at the line of scrimmage, so they have to line up for the field goal. That's no good, and it was at this point, you're like, all right, this is going to be one of them days. Which team is going to be able to make the fewest mistakes to pull out with this victory? That's the way that it was looking. Miami gets the ball back. There's like 6 minutes left in the first half of this game. Tyler Huntley goes to Jonnu Smith, who definitely had his most productive game to date with the Miami Dolphins. 5 catches, 62 yards for Jonnu Smith. Good to see them get him involved today. That was definitely a nice. If you wanted to talk about what weapons you were going to see, Odell Beckham Jr., of course, not really a factor today. I think the only times you saw him were once where he, I believe the pick that Tyler Huntley threw, he was trying to go to Odell Beckham Jr., and the route got kind of snuffed out, and then he was going deep. Huntley was trying to make something happen deep in the end zone, and Odell Beckham was down there, and nothing was doing. So very quiet debut for Odell Beckham. I honestly didn't even notice him on the field that much today, but Jonnu Smith did pick up the slack there. Mind you, look, Odell Beckham, bad press conferences or not, it was his first week of practice with the team. You give it a little bit of a go, and the offense was actually able to get things going today. The discipline was bad. They put up yards. There was, I think out of anything today, the bigger question, the bigger issue for the Miami Dolphins still remains just discipline of getting things right at the right time. I think that they showed themselves capable of moving the ball. Now, understood this isn't the greatest competition that they're facing, but you got to take wins against anybody right now. You got to take baby steps. There's no grading on a curve when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. You just have to get wins right now, and that's where things are at. So after giving it to Huntley, after Huntley gives it to Jonnu Smith, they start feeding Raheem Mostert. They get it all the way down to the New England 25, and then this was probably where you thought about breaking your television screen, because the ball is snapped way past Tyler Huntley, goes down, lost at 22 yards. Mike McDaniel sitting there. Illegal shift was called on this as well, and he's just like, oh my God. He's beside himself. He is beside himself with that. But it doesn't really cost the Dolphins too much. They were able to pin the punt, 3 and out for the Patriots. Berrios had a pretty nice return and set the Dolphins up for a position where, once again, nice play to Jonnu Smith. This is where Tyler Huntley tried to go down and find Odell Beckham in the end zone. And then you get a false start by Austin Jackson, moves the field goal back a little bit. And this is where Blake Ferguson decided to snap the ball as if he had sea lion flippers. And blew the field goal there. So going to halftime, it's 7-3. Miami Dolphins. Just at this point, I'm thinking to myself, at halftime, here were honest Tobin's thoughts. They were very much in line with the great Larry Zonka's, who I don't know if he's tweeted since the victory. Looks like he has. But Larry Zonka, I'll give you the tweets that he goes, well, that's a win. We'll take it. But no question, we have to step it up on fundamentals. Practice, practice, practice. Hashtag go Fins. Hashtag Fins up. Hashtag NE versus MIA. Love Larry Zonka. Best Twitter follow. That's why he's on the noties. But he tweeted out, first lead of the season. I've been dying to tweet, and now I have a reason. Hashtag NE versus MIA. Hashtag Fins up. Then he just goes, what is happening? And I think that was a fairly appropriate question. I think that was a fairly appropriate question from Larry Zonka in this game. So anyway, the Dolphins aren't able to score going into halftime. It's 7-3. Patriots get the ball. They go to the booth. Mark Sanchez is there. Dude's got a ponytail like Salt Bae. And all I can think of myself watching Mark Sanchez is, one, dude has a Salt Bae ponytail now. Very weird. Two, man, he doesn't shut up. And I know that's a weird thing to say for a broadcaster, but like there's something about the way that he speaks. It was almost like he speaks like a ventriloquist dummy. Like there were no breaks. Like somebody's like, and I gotta tell you, Chris, that is some kind of crazy thing. There's no flags there. Oh my goodness! Like, have I breathed? Have I taken a breath while I talk? I'm still talking anyway. Here we go. Give it to Raheem Mostert. Alec Ingold. And here we go. Looking again. I know this isn't pretty or gritty, but you got to win it when it's pretty or gritty. That's how you got to win it. I'm just like, wow, this guy is. He was like dollar store Tony Romo, but instead of making orgasmic sounds, ooh, Jim. He was just making corny little jokes here and there, but he was an exhausting listen today. Mark Sanchez. Oh, my God. Fumbled right into an ass. I don't know if you guys heard that. So, anyway, the opening drive, you have there were a couple of dumb plays here, but the one that really stands out, Jalen Ramsey had a roughing the passer, hands to the face penalty. That was really stupid. That ends up with the Dolphins giving up a field goal. They go down 10-3. I know that a lot of people were getting on Chop Robinson on Twitter on this drive because he was getting stoned, and Chop really only had one play that comes to mind. He got some heat on Jacoby Brissett and forced an incompletion. That's kind of been the most effective. He did that once to Josh Allen too. Been a pretty quiet rookie season thus far for Chop, but in my mind, that's got to go to the highest paid corner in the league. Like, hey man, you all of these guys, when you don't have your starting quarterback out there, every one of these guys who's gotten the bag has to step up a little bit more. That's just the way that it is. So anyway, Dolphins, they would go to the next drive, and you go Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was really fine in his stride. Gets a first down run, then he gets extra yards from a horse collar, and then the Dolphins get another big penalty. Tyler Huntley was trying to find Jalen Waddle down the sidelines, and they get a roughing the passer call, and so they are marching on down. Tyler Huntley then was nearly picked off in the end zone. Christian Gonzalez ended up having the ball like right in his hands, and Tyreek was able to bat it out. It was a really heads-up play by Tyreek Hill. Then the next play, Tyreek Hill makes a diving catch, but his foot stepped out of bounds. That would also come back in the game a little bit later. And it was a good effort, but couldn't get it in. So the Dolphins have to settle for 3. Mike McDaniel, though they cut away. They settle for the field goal. They cut away, and he's kind of got this face like he basically, here was the look Mike McDaniel had when they cut to the side. They cut to the camera, the cutaway. It was basically, I'm never going to score a touchdown again. That was the feeling that he had. You could read Mike McDaniel's thoughts in that mind where it goes, I'm never scoring a touchdown again. But wrong you'd be, Mike. So Dolphins, they would end up getting a big stop. And then next drive, they get the ball. This is Jaylen Wright territory. They keep giving it to him. He's churning up. He gets a big run for 6 yards, 14 yards. There was a good play by Tyler Huntley. He was looking for Waddle down the field. Had him open, but he ends up just keeping it himself, and he runs for a first down. Then on a 3rd and 13, he gets it to Jalen Waddle. It was just shy of the sticks, so they have to settle for 3 again. Boom. They're able to get it. 10-9. Defense shows strong again, and they get the ball back. So this was the drive. This was the drive where Miami goes up on top. There's 12 minutes left in the game. Miami completely takes control of this game by this drive. They put ferocity into this drive with just a great job on the team going out there and puts together a 7-minute and 36-second drive, 80 yards, 15 plays, and a lot of this was just Jaylen Wright, Raheem Mostert, big-time runs. Jaylen Wright looks explosive. He looks strong, looks fresh. I don't know what this means for the Miami Dolphins backfield. Obviously, Devon Achane getting rocked the way they did. They are going into the bye week, but Jaylen Wright earned some playing time today. That is for sure. This guy has to get some carries. This guy has to play. Every time he's touched the football this season, he looks like he can do some dangerous stuff with it. Raheem Mostert, ballsy game by him. Alec Ingold, fantastic blocks. Noah gave him shit for the lack of production on the 4th and 1s and whatnot. He was a monster today. He scores the winning touchdown. Intangibles. And he got a shout out from Larry Zonka. You know Zonk loves an intangibles touchdown. So Alec Ingold and Jaylen Wright and Raheem Mostert, I know Mike McDaniel gives game balls to everybody, but those 3 guys specifically should all get the game ball. But if I had to give it to one guy, I'd probably give it to Ingold because he did get the touchdown and he was just laying a wallop down on everybody. But I think the good thing about having Jaylen Wright is Mostert, you definitely could see on times look really exhausted. They gave him a lot of carries. They gave him nearly 20 carries today. First real action of the season because he was banged up. First play of the game this year. So great job by him. And Dolphins getting that lead just felt unbelievably huge. First time in the end zone for a lead this season. Big time moments. And then sure as bleep, big drive. You need a big stand by the defense, and you are Swiss cheese basically all the way down the field. And you get to a point where Jacoby Brissett gets it into the red zone, and he throws what looks like a touchdown at first glance to Jalen Polk, back of the end zone. But you can see the back of his foot look like it might have touched the white, and they review it immediately. It is reversed, and the touchdown's wiped off the board, so huge sense of relief there from Miami. Emmanuel Ogbah brings the blitz and the heat the next time around, so he has to throw it right away. Then they get a false start, and then once again, incomplete in the end zone. Anthony Weaver, the Bob and Weave defense was not playing today. Anthony Weaver did a great job. He has really been doing a good job all year. It's been tough in these games because he probably hasn't been getting the credit he has deserved for this defense, but fantastic job today to not have. And shout out to Emmanuel Ogbah, by the way. Emmanuel Ogbah signs last minute. He has been so damn good. He has gotten his hands on football. He has gotten after the quarterback. What a performance he's had for no ego, comes back to the Dolphins, makes all this money. At one point was the highest paid Dolphin, then cuts ties, doesn't know where he's going to ends up back with the Miami Dolphins. Emmanuel Ogbah, I would say him or Sealer gets game ball for the defensive side of things. Anyway, Dolphins, They go out there. They get the ball back. Unable to get a first down. So Patriots would get it one more time. Brissett has a great play with tacklers all over him. He gets downfield to Booty. And there's 12 seconds left. They have no timeouts left. And he throws it to Hunter Henry. And time runs out. Miami wins. Boom. So there you go. Ramifications. Dolphins now 2-3. Jets, they lose today. Shout out to Brian Flores. They lose 23-17. They drop to 2-3. And, man, Aaron Rodgers, tell you, not looking so good for old Mr. Ayahuasca. And today in the Texans game, now I didn't pay any attention to this other than social media, but the Texans beat the Bills 23-20. So the Bills dropped to 3-2, 2 straight losses for them. And Josh Allen took a hell of a hit, head to the turf. Guess he went back in. They gave him smelling salts, and he went back in. Didn't miss any action, but who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on that. But the Dolphins finished today with a 15-10 win, and they get to go into the bye week, get a little healthier. Got a bad Colts team you're taking on next. Dolphins seem like they found something here with this run game. That was, I think, the most exciting part today. They found an identity. Even with these games, the way they've been going, the Dolphins just did not have anything they could rely on. Today, they feel very much like they could still rely on. Give the ball to Mostert. Give the ball to Jaylen Wright. Bull people over. And every once in a while, get the ball to Tyreek Hill. It's still a little bit more from Jalen Waddle. If you're going to nitpick about today, there were a couple times where he could have made some tough catches, but they didn't come through. Whatever. We'll quibble about that another day. Jonnu Smith getting involved was big too. And I thought Tyler Huntley did good. I'm not expecting much. I thought, the one pick sucked, but they were able to go get a win with them. That's all everybody's been asking for. So nice job by the Fins. It was laborious to get through this, but we did it. Double victory weekend. Fins, Canes, we'll celebrate on a Monday.